Hello again, I am Blunty, and this is the story of promise and betrayal, subterfuge and trickery, and my own attempt to make a lovely beach campsite out of a crashed boat. Join me as we find out why a healthy dose of skepticism when dealing with brands you've never heard of, whose flag looks like this and whose president looks like this. Welcome to the review of the Nixie wireless controller for NS. NS in this case, somewhat obviously by the split nature of the controller, standing for Nintendo Switch. We'll start with a brief overview and then we'll get to the meat of the actual story behind this review. So, it's one of those chunky style Joycon controllers made for better comfort and grip. I like this idea. The Joycons are a compromise, made to be full-featured controllers, but also made to be as small and as low profile as possible to preserve the portability of the Switch. It's a sensible, if not ergonomically ideal solution. Now, be they Joycon style or traditional style controllers, a lot of third-party options are missing features, often rumble, almost always the 6-axis gyroscope, and always the NFC reader. These are fairly feature complete though, which is why I was interested in the first place. The only thing missing is the NFC reader, and given how often most players use that function, it's not going to be missed often. But it does have vibration, not as sophisticated as Nintendo's own HD rumble of course, but a pretty standard rumble all the same, and it even has the ability to control the strength or turn it off completely, which you will want to do. I'll get to that though. It has gyro even. Plus a few additional features Nintendo's standard doesn't include, like a turbo function, which is kind of hilariously old school. I wonder how many Zoomers will need that one explained to them. Do you kids know what a turbo function is on the controllers? Is that patronizing? Yes. But it also has some back buttons programmable for any face button, D-pad directional input, or the shoulder buttons, so that's quite nice. Oh, and of course it has RGB lights, which, I mean, why? Who's looking at the controller while they play? Who's this for? What's this for? It's kind of pointlessly draining battery life very, very slightly. I mean, it looks nice, but eh. Anyway, functionally, it's nice enough and complete enough. It certainly is significantly more comfortable in handheld mode than standard Joy-Cons are. Between the larger size, the better shape, the real D-pad, and the larger, taller thumbsticks with a wider range of motion, it all adds up to a nicer experience than the standard Joy-Cons are. The vibration motors are trash, making an ugly plasticky sound rattling the whole thing, and so that gets turned off. The back buttons, well, they're something I've never really loved on controllers, and these ones sit at exactly the right spot for your fingers to rest naturally on, which also means if I tighten my grip even slightly in a tense moment, I'm often pressing them by accident because they are a very, very, very light touch, shallow action button. There's also no way to turn them off or assign them to a null input, so not a fan of that. Everything else feels fine. The thumbsticks feel fine. No apparent issues with calibration or drift. The dead zones are a little bit larger than I like. It might annoy some people. I was okay with it. It's nothing too egregious. The face buttons are a little stiff for my taste, but I'd rather that than too mushy, certainly. The D-pad, however, is the opposite, just slightly mushier than I like. Again, nothing too egregious, but just slightly mushier. Perfectly serviceable anyway. The shoulder buttons are actually quite nice. Good tactility, good depth of click, they feel nice to use. The plastic housing itself is obviously cheap and the whole thing feels lighter than you'd expect, which is nice for long-term handheld gameplay sessions, I suppose, but also kind of makes the whole thing feel a bit cheap and chintzy. Each half charges on the normal switch while it's attached, just like normal Joy-Cons do, but also can charge via USB. But each half needs its own charge cable. The box only supplies one charge cable, by the way. They also supply you with this handheld spacer to let you use it more like a traditional controller, and that also works really nicely. It's good solid fit, no wobbles or creaks. It has light pipes for the battery levels to shine through. It's fine. And in this mode, it feels pretty good too. It's spaced right, it rests nicely in the hand, it feels like a controller should. All in all, pretty much exactly the kind of thing I've come to expect from relatively inexpensive third-party controllers. It's good enough. It's the only Joy-Con style split controller I've actually tried so far. I usually go right for the Pro controller, but yeah, it's decent. Oh, and yes, it fits in a standard dock, although there is a bit of very slight friction from the overhang that these have, being chunkier. And I don't have one to test, but I have seen reports that it does not fit in the new dock that came out alongside the Switch OLED. But if you want one, well, here's Here's the rest of the story of betrayal and ninja-like vanishing into the night, never to be seen again. It starts about a month ago with an email identical to so many emails people like me tend to get. A brand I've never heard of claims to be big fans of my content. That's always a lie. They've never seen my stuff before. And they want me to look at their new release product. About half the time, they try and entice the inexperienced and frankly stupid YouTubers out there with promises of making money through an affiliate program. Don't ever sign up for those. This was one of those times, by the way, they wanted an affiliate thing. I told them, yeah, I'll take a look, but I'm not interested in the affiliate program. Often this is where the story ends, because a lot of the time the affiliate program isn't about anything else but a more fine-grained way for shopper trafficking, not to put more money in the pockets of the reviewers, which is a conflict of interest in their starting place. This time, though, it was one of the times where they sent a review sample anyway and said, yeah, no worries, don't worry about the affiliate program, just take a look at it. Now, at this point, it's important to know I was already very aware that this was not a brand new product by an upstart brand. I'd seen this device before under several different branding labels. It's one of those white box cheapo Alibaba jobs sold wholesale to other companies to rebrand and then sell on as their own. This one I recognized instantly as something I've seen branded Binbok. Mainly because Binbok is such a funny sounding word to my English speaking ass, it kind of just stuck with me. Binbok. Cute, right? Anyway, all that is hardly unusual, so who cares, right? Rebranding stuff is so common these days. The product is the product, evaluated on its own merits. Well, sure, but also no. See, the issue with brands like this, especially small ones, is they're never really all that committed to anything except gathering money. So things like customer service is usually trash if it exists at all, as is the case with Nixie. I found a few examples of customers left high and dry in recent months and utterly ignored when they've asked to return or exchange a product that arrived faulty. And rather more precedent to my story, they can vanish in an instant because they're not invested in making their own stuff. See, I was emailed about reviewing this controller just under a month ago, and by the time the controller had arrived and I had a few days to test it and start preparing my review, well, see, I went to the website to check out a few spec details to make sure I was getting things right and to grab a screenshot of the shop page for the list price for this very video. So I put on screen, hey, it's for this much and you get it here. Only to find out they've already shut down. It's gone. The store is shut. Well, I guess I've wasted my time on this review. Oh wait, no I didn't, because this product isn't actually Nixie's at all. They didn't design it, they didn't manufacture it, they didn't make it, they barely even marketed it. They did a decent job on the box and manual, I suppose, although there's some translation issues in the manual. And I do like the little owl face logo, but they're gone now. Luckily, exactly the same product is also available under other brand listings, ones that still exist now and you can still buy for now. So if you are interested, in the down below is a link for the exact same thing, branded Binbok, on sale on Amazon. So at least you've got a nice trustworthy storefront to get it from, and Amazon's return policy and customer service for a start. I've also listed the Alibaba listing so you can see the bulk prices for these things, which is something else Nixie did. I can't remember the exact price, but I remember when they first contemplated about it, I checked it, and it was somewhere about $60, which is, you know, controller's price. It's a bit rich for a third-party one, but whatever. But as you can see, it was a much more aggressive markup than Binbok uses, so, yeah, Nixie were a bit shit there too. All in all though, it seems like a reasonably decent third-party alternative to the Joycon, certainly more comfortable for hands as big as mine, and the plastic feels kind of light and cheap, but it feels reasonably well put together. It doesn't creak or squeak or anything when you grip it, although the vibration motors do rattle things, as I mentioned before. I don't play handheld much on my Switch, and when I do, I've got a Switch Lite for that, so I tend to stay with my Pro Controller, and there's even an especially nice third-party option for that too, from PowerA, which I reviewed previously. But it is nice to have this option for when I do travel, because it is nicer in the hand than the standard Joy-Cons are, so meh. Thanks for watching. I'm Bloody. I'll catch you next time. Thanks to the patrons.